morning students. Today we will discuss the topic short run equilibrium output. In our earlier video we discussed about the meaning of short run output, as we have discussed that short run equilibrium according to Keynes is related to level of output. Whatever the level of output in the whatever the level of employment in the economy, that is the level of output in the economy. Means short run equilibrium output is related to employment in the economy. Okay, means employment decides the output in the economy. Employment is the determinant of output in the economy, and price and technology remain constant. These factors do not affect the equilibrium level in the economy. Okay, was the spotter of short run equilibrium. He said that in long run we all are dead, and in short run equilibrium is possible only by demand and aggregate supply forces. So he has given mainly two approach. Short run equilibrium is related to two approach, AD and AS and S or I. Aggregate demand, aggregate supply, saving and investment. Okay, so aggregate demand and aggregate supply is equal to each other. It means whatever a producer plan to produce in the economy is exactly equal to what the buyer is willing to take. Okay, so when both are equal, then there is equilibrium in the economy. For example, imagine yourself as a producer. What do you think? Where do you strike your equilibrium? If you are producing anything, then what do you think? Where you would like to strike your equilibrium point? Obviously, where demand is equal to supply, means your supply would be equal to demand. Means whatever good you produce should be equal to whatever people demanding. So demand and supply both will be equal, and as we are discussing about the macroeconomics topic, so in macroeconomics we always take aggregate demand and aggregate supply. Okay, and saving and investment, as we have discussed, that our AS is equal to Y, means aggregate supply is equal to income Y, or Y is equal to C plus S, and aggregate demand is equal to C plus I. So when we take both AS or AD equal, then C plus S equal to C plus I, or S equal to I, saving equal to investment. So we will discuss the short run equilibrium with aggregate demand and aggregate supply approach and saving or investment. So we will discuss the short run equilibrium output with two approach, AD equal to AS or S equal to I. Okay. So firstly we will talk about the AD equal to AS. So what is AD? AD is the total expenditure on the goods and services in the economy in an accounting year, and aggregate supply is the total supply of goods and services in the economy in an accounting year. But our equilibrium will strike, equilibrium situation will be when aggregate demand is equal to aggregate supply is equal to aggregate demand. What will happen if AS is greater than AD? What will be the situation if there is no equilibrium in the economy and aggregate supply is greater than aggregate demand? Then what will happen? When aggregate supply is greater than aggregate demand, it means that producer plan to produce is greater than that people want to buy. It means the producer having unsold stock, and he will suffer from the loss of unsold stock. Okay, when aggregate supply is greater than aggregate demand, aggregate supply means producer plan to produce. Aggregate supply is whatever the producer plan to produce, and aggregate demand people plan to buy or plan to demand. So AS is greater than aggregate demand. It means production of goods is greater than demand, or we can say supply is greater than demand. And what it means producer unsold stock. Unsold stock means producer having loss of goods, those are unsold. Okay, because the production of goods is more than the people plan to produce. And the other situation is what will happen when AS is less than AD. Or in another term we can say when aggregate demand is greater than aggregate supply. Okay, when aggregate demand is greater than aggregate supply or aggregate supply is less than aggregate demand, then our supply is less than demand. Means whatever producer plan to produce is less than what people plan to buy. It means the producer will suffer from to fulfill of demand, because demand is not fulfilled because of shortage of goods. Our supply is less than demand. So if there is no equilibrium in the economy, then both the situation that we have discussed, when aggregate supply is greater than aggregate demand and aggregate demand is greater than aggregate supply, then the producers suffer from the loss. Okay, because this equilibrium with the help of table and diagram. Okay, in table you can see we have given AS means aggregate supply, that is 0, 20, 40, 60, 80, 100 and 120. Then we have consumption C, that is 20. When income is 0, as we have discussed in psychological law of consumption, that when income is 0, then also people used to consume something. It means to survive, or we can say to live, we need to consume. If income is 0, then also we are consuming 20. So that when income is 0, consumption is 20 and investment is 10. It is constant all the level of the output. And aggregate demand is total demand in the economy is 30. Then income increase 20, consumption also increase, then income become 40, then it is 40. Here Y and C both are equal, means consumption and income both are equal. Then income is 60, consumption is 50. After this equilibrium point, income is increasing and consumption is also increasing, but increase in consumption is less than increase in income. It means the people start to save some part of income after consumption. When income is 80, then consumption 60, and it is 100, then 70, 120, 80. And investment is constant at all the level of the output. So we will show this equilibrium with the in a diagram. On O-axis we will take the level of output, and here we will take C plus I, consumption, or I we can say aggregate demand, or here we can say we will take AS. Okay, so when our AS is 0, it starts from the origin, so we will draw a line like this. It is our AS, or we can say Y. Okay, this is our income. It is started from the origin point. So when income is 0, then our C is 20. C is 20. C is starting from here, because to survive we need to consume something, and that is our C. When our income is 0, then our aggregate demand is 30. Aggregate demand is 30. C plus I, it is 30. So this point, when aggregate demand cut A's point, this is our equilibrium point. This point is E point, and this is equilibrium point of output. Equilibrium point of output. What it shows that AD and AS is equal. It means whatever producer plan to produce is exactly equal to whatever people plan to buy. Both the demand and supply are equal. Means there is nothing of unsold stock, and the producer is not suffering from the loss of unsold stock. So our aggregate demand is equal to, we can say it is our aggregate demand, because AD is equal to C plus I. Recall chapter of national income. In that chapter we have discussed about the AD and AS, that AD is equal to C plus I and AS is equal to C plus S, and in consumption chapter also we have discussed talk about this. So AD is equal to C plus I, so this is our aggregate demand, and aggregate demand is equal to this AS, or we can say Y at point E. This shows the point of equilibrium. Okay, so we have discussed the point of equilibrium, short run equilibrium output, where AD is equal to AS. Okay, when AD is greater than, then there is more demand and the producer is not able to fulfill the demand, and when AS is greater than AD, it means whatever producer produce is greater than whatever people plan to buy. Okay, so the producers suffer from the unsold stock. Okay, so we have shown the short run equilibrium output with the help of table and diagram. Okay, so watch the video, also read from your book, practice the table and diagram in your notebook. If you have any query, any doubt, you are free to ask. Thank you, students.